Hello. Let's talk about booleans in this video. In this section of our video series or teaching series on crash course in Python, we want to cover boolean, which is an inbuilt data structures that can take up the values true or false. This data structure is the integral, is very important when it comes to conditional and comparison expressions, and is interchangeable with the integers 1 or 0. Boolean control and flow of a program are used to make comparisons, showing that despite the fancy name boolean, which is nicknamed bool in Python, they play an integral role in Python programming. Boolean data structures are composed of comparison and logical operators. So here are the comparison operators, which include the equal to. So here is where you're comparing two things, like a function I wrote in one of the previous video. I used double equal to. So I think, let me just scroll over. Since I used the same Jupyter notebook to illustrate that. As you can see here, where I used double equal to. So I'm saying that check num of %2 if the remainder is 0. Check if this value here is 0. If it is, then give me this output. So that is just me comparing the left hand side and the right hand side of the operation. So this is not actually assignment, but this is comparison. So that is, it returns a boolean value, either true or false. So that is this is comparison operator, not necessarily equal to, right? If you want to assign for assignment, of course it is called equal to here, but it's comparison equal to. The single equal to sign is just for assignment. It's called assignment operator. All right, the next one is not equal to. So this is the operator for not equal to, defined as exclamation mark and equal to. Then the less than sign, of course, the greater than sign, the less than or equal to symbol, the greater than or equal to symbol or sign. So those are the comparison operators. Please, you have to get yourself familiarized with these operators, as they're important in performing some data analytics tasks here when we begin our main data analytics discussion using Python. Now we also have logical operators. There are about three of them basically: and, or, not. So the AND operator will return true if and only if x and y are both true. The OR operator will return true if at least one of them is true. The NOT operator is just the negation of x. So if it's not x, you say not x. Those are the three logical operators. Alright, now let's see how to use these logical operators or comparison operators in comparing two things. So below are some examples of how comparison operators work. Here I want to compare the two values 5 and 3, and I say 5 is strictly less than 3. Of course it is true that 5 is less than 3. So it is false rather, that 5 is less than 3. So Python output false, right? And again, we have 5 greater than 3, which is obviously true, that 5 is greater than 3, and Python output true. When you have 1 plus 1, it's obviously 2. So I'm asking Python, is the operation by the left 1 plus 1, is it equal to this integer 2? That's why I'm using the double equal to. So I'm saying, is this operation equal to this operation? If yes, please give me true. If no, give me false. And when you run this cell, you have true, because it is true that 1 plus 1 is equals 2. Now I want to ask, is apples equals oranges? Of course, these two strings are different, they're not equal, obviously. And when I run this, it gives me false. But if we have, say, let's count the number of characters: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we count the number of these characters: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say I'm adding one single s to this to have equal length of both apples, if there's any word like that, and oranges. But by the time I introduce the length function, I want to calculate the length of apples and then compare it with the length of oranges. Then I ask Python, is the length of apples with an additional s the same thing, equal to the length of oranges? Then Python would output true here, because they now have equal length. So this is true. Actually, even though the text the strings at both sides of the equation are not the same, but their length are equal, that is why you have a true. But when we get back to what we had initially, we'll definitely have a false, because the word apples is not the same as the word oranges, so you have a false. That's so, which brings us to the fact that you can compare not just numbers, you can also compare strings. All right, you can also compare strings. So let's look at logical operators. Here I'm saying not 1 plus 1 equals 2, so it says false. Of course, not 1 plus 1 equals 2, that is definitely obviously false. Then I'm saying, is 1 plus 1 not equal to 2? This is also false, because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So this not 1 plus 1, because I'm saying not 1 plus 1 equals 2. It is true that it is 1 plus 1. So when I say not 1 plus 1, it gives me the negation of not of 1 plus 1. Alright, and here when we say apples is not equal to oranges, of course it is true that apples is not equal to oranges, because we've seen it earlier that apples equal to oranges is false. Can you see that? Okay, and when we move further, now we are combining the logical operator with the logical operator with the comparison operators. So here I'm saying that 4 greater than 4. It is true that 4 is greater than 4, but it is false that 3 is greater than 5, and that's why we have a false output. Remember I said whenever you're using your logical operator AND, it returns true if and only if both sides are true. Two statements are true. That is when AND will return true. So when you run this, of course it's obviously false, which you have seen already. But if I have, say, 3 less than 5, it is true that 4 is greater than 2, it's also true that 3 is less than 5, then this should return true, because the left hand side is true and the right hand side is also true. But the other statements we had earlier that showed that 3 greater than 5, then this will be false. Now true and true is true. Can you see? Even you can use the Boolean words true and true, it gives you true. You can say false and true, it gives you false. In fact, you can use this to run, of course I've already used it to run different analysis. True and true, so this Boolean operators, true and true is true, false and false is true and false is false, false and true is also false, false and false is false. Can you see that? So it is only true when the both statements are true, otherwise it will return false. Am I communicating? Now when you use the or operator, I have 4 is greater than 2 or 3 is greater than 5. So this will return true if when one of the statements is true, at least one of the statements. So the two of them do not necessarily need to be true. So once one of them is true, or operator will definitely return true. That's why we have true, because this guy is true, even though 3 is not greater than 5. Again, let's look at the or operator analysis. True or true is true, true or false is true, false or true is true, false or false is actually false. So this is how to perform the Boolean operators, using both the Boolean operators, comparison operators, and the logical operators. I hope you found this very insightful and interesting short video on Boolean operators, logical operators, and comparison operators. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, drop a comment, and also feel free to share it with others. You can follow us if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe so you get notification once we drop new content. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.